Lake Como gets all the attention. It also gets all the price tags. A studio apartment there will cost you 400,000 euros minimum. Today we're looking at Italian lakes most people haven't heard of, where the water is just as blue, the villages are just as old, and the cheapest property on this list is 30,000 euros. That's not a typo, and it's not a ruin. 7 properties across 3 lakes. And by the end, you'll genuinely struggle to explain why anyone is still buying on Como. Number 1, and we're opening strong, because according to the listing, this stone chalet above Quarna Soto, tucked into Piedmont near Lake Orta, is asking just 30,000 euros. The wow factor here hits you before you're even through the door. A plastered stone chalet reached by a well-maintained dirt track off the road, linking Quarna to Kamasca, sitting on its own 15,000 square meters of deciduous and coniferous woodland, land that was previously worked for firewood using a cableway and tractor. There's a flat lawn courtyard right outside, held up by a solid reinforced concrete retaining wall. So it's not just raw hillside. Someone's already done the hard landscaping work for you. Step inside, and you've got an eat-in kitchen with a genuine stone fireplace, a bathroom, a woodshed with its own attached courtyard, and an external staircase climbing up to an attic bedroom under a wood and sheet metal roof. The floors upstairs are wood, the ground floor is ceramic tile, and the window frames are wood with single glazing, rustic, but functional. Now, to be fair with you, this is a mountain cabin, not a modern flat. There's no central heating, just a wood-fired boiler for hot water, and a small solar setup for basic lighting, so it's described more as a woodland retreat than a full-time family base. But it's a solid property, with everything already functioning as is. No major structural work needed to actually move in this weekend and start using it. And the best part is that land. 15,000 square meters of private forest for less than the price of a used car back home. Picture mornings there. No traffic noise. No neighbors close enough to hear. Just wind moving through pine and chestnut. And a flat courtyard where you could set up a table and just sit with a coffee, watching the light change over the tree line. This is the opening bid on today's list. But don't get comfortable because the leader changes almost immediately. And honestly, the value only climbs from here. Before we jump into the next one, quick flavor of the region for you. This stretch of Piedmont around Lake Orta is all cobblestone lanes, lakeside gelato stands, and mountain air that actually smells like pine, roughly an hour and a half from Milan Malpensa Airport, so it's genuinely reachable. Not some remote fantasy. Think warm summers, mild winters, roads that wind but are well maintained, and a slower pace of life that most people only get on vacation. Number 2, and the price barely moves, 34,000 euros. But the whole game changes completely, because now we're inside an actual finished village home. In Montefiascone, up in the Lazio hills near Lake Bolsena, this detached ground floor house has, according to the listing, already been renovated and is described as a characteristic independent home comprising a living room with a kitchenette and fireplace, 1 bedroom, and a bathroom. It's compact, sitting under 40 square meters of floor area. But here's the thing that matters. It's finished. The energy performance certificate is already in process, which tells you this isn't some abandoned shell waiting for a contractor. It's a place you could actually move into with no major renovations standing between you and your first coffee on the terrace. No sprawling land here, no direct lake view from the window, but what you're paying for is a turnkey village home in a part of Italy known for volcanic crater lakes and centuries-old hill towns that most tourists never even hear about, surrounded by vineyards and olive groves that stretch out toward Lake Bolsena, one of the largest volcanic lakes in Europe. Solid property, small footprint, zero drama, and a price that barely covers a down payment anywhere else. This is the kind of place you'd hand to a parent looking for a low-maintenance base, or keep as a quiet weekend bolt hole an hour or so from Rome. Close enough for a spontaneous Friday drive without needing to plan a whole trip around it. And now watch, because the leader changes again, and this next one takes us straight back to the water. Number 3, 39,500 euros, and this one's a genuine curveball. A 30 square meter mobile home inside the Punta di Crabia campsite, right on the shore of Lake Orta in Pedonasco. Described in the listing as like new and ready to move in, this is not your average mobile home. There's a covered veranda with table and chairs, a wonderful lake view perfect for sunset drinks, an outdoor barbecue area with a large tiled space for sunbathing, and access to a private beach with ladders for easy water entry, the kind of setup where you roll out of bed straight into a swimsuit, and you're in the lake within minutes. Inside, a cozy living room with a sofa bed for two, a kitchen equipped with a full-size fridge for real family meals, a double bedroom with a wardrobe, and a full bathroom with a large shower, sink, toilet, and bidet. The campsite itself throws in a bar, a restaurant, kayak and paddleboard rental, and even a shuttle service to Orta San Giulio and nearby Omegna, which are two of the prettiest little towns on the entire lake. It's not a museum, it's real life. This is a place built for actual weekends, actual mornings on the water with coffee in hand, no pretending required, no staged photos hiding the truth. The compromise here is obvious, and it's fine to name it. You're on campsite land, not owning a freestanding plot outright. But for under 40,000 euros, you get lakefront mornings that most people spend their entire vacation budget chasing for 1 week a year. And the best part is that private beach access. Step outside your door and you're already at the water. Who's this one really for? Honestly, a couple wanting a low-stress lake escape, or a family that wants summer sorted without ever touching a mortgage application, kids splashing off the ladder while dinner's already on the barbecue. And remember, listings like this move fast once word gets around, so if something like it catches your eye, don't sit on it too long. Quick flavor snack. Before we keep climbing the ladder, Lake Orta is the smaller, quieter cousin to Como. Way less crowded. Same postcard blue water. The town of Orta San Giulio, sitting right across from its own tiny island. And prices like the ones we've just seen are exactly why people are starting to pay attention. Number 4, and here's where things get strange in the best possible way. 54,000 euros. And I need to set your expectations correctly on this one, because according to the listing, this is technically registered as an agricultural tool shed. Stay with me though, because the setting does a lot of heavy lifting here. It sits above the hamlet of Velo on Lake Iseo, reachable only on foot via an uphill path, about a 3-minute walk from the state road, which already tells you this is a place built for solitude, not convenience. 17 square meters of structure plus a 13 square meter porch. No extensions permitted under current rules, described as having potable water and electricity supplied through a solar panel. But the real headline here is the land itself. Just over 5,000 square meters of steep terraced agricultural ground, planted with 40 olive trees and assorted fruit trees, and a splendid lake view baked right into the listing description, the kind of view that usually comes with a much bigger price tag attached. This is not a full residence, and I want to be completely honest with you about that. It's a hobby retreat, a daytime escape into your own olive grove with Lake Iseo spread out below you like a painting. No heating system, no full modern bathroom setup. So the compromise here is real, and I'm not going to pretend otherwise, but it's sold as is with nothing hidden in the description, and the price reflects exactly what you're getting for it. And the best part is those 40 olive trees. Imagine pressing your own oil from a hillside that's entirely yours, harvest weekends with friends, jars of it stacked in your own kitchen back home. This one's less about a roof over your head and more about owning a piece of the mountain itself. And at this price, that's a trade a lot of people would take without blinking. Now don't click away because the leader changes hard from this point forward, and the next 3 entries are where this whole list gets genuinely difficult to walk away from. Before that, one more taste of the region for you. Lake Iseo is the quiet overachiever among the Italian lakes, home to Monte Isola, the largest lake island in southern Europe, ringed by fishing villages and terraced vineyards climbing the surrounding hills, and it barely gets a fraction of the tourist traffic that Como pulls in every summer, which is exactly why the prices on this list still make sense. Number 5, 80,000 euros, and now we're talking about an actual full-sized home. A courtyard house in Prador, sitting up in the hills above Lake Iseo. According to the listing, you enter through a private terrace into a 2-level layout. The raised ground floor holds the living area and the double bedroom. Then a hallway leads up to the first floor, where you'll find a second small bedroom, a bathroom with a window and shower, and a large private terrace looking straight out over a stream. There's a big garden with a woodshed and a barbecue area, ideal for lunches that stretch into the evening with friends and family gathered around the table. And the listing notes that thanks to the location near the river, you fall asleep to the actual sound of a nearby waterfall. That's not marketing language. That's the real setting, and it's the kind of detail you simply can't fake in a listing description. On the ground floor, there's also a separate small apartment with its own living space, bathroom, and double bedroom, plus a basement level holding a tavern, a cellar, and a technical room, and free parking sitting right outside. This is a genuinely move-in ready property, described in good condition, 5 rooms and 2 bathrooms, spread across real usable living space. A solid property that could work as a full-time home or as a 2-family setup for extended family visits without anyone stepping on anyone else's toes. And the best part is that basement tavern. Italians have been turning cellars into entertaining spaces for generations. Long dinners with candles and a table full of people. And this one comes ready-made for exactly that. Whether you're picturing extended family stretching out across 2 floors, or renting out that ground floor apartment separately while you keep the main house, this is the first entry on the list that genuinely functions as a full family base, not just a getaway. Number 6, 84,000 euros. And we're heading over to Lake Turano now, into the historic center of Castel di Torre, one of those villages that genuinely looks like it was built specifically for postcards, narrow stone streets, a lakefront promenade, and a backdrop of green hills rolling straight down into the water. The listing describes this apartment as completely renovated and fully furnished. A kitchen and living room combined into one space, a main bedroom, a small second bedroom, a hallway, a bathroom, and a habitable balcony you can actually sit out on with a coffee. PVC windows throughout, autonomous heating running through a pellet stove that also handles hot water production, all systems compliant and certified, a satellite TV connection, and a 100 megabit Wi-Fi connection already installed, which matters more than people think if remote work is any part of your plan for a place like this. There's a cellar underneath, matching the same footprint as the apartment above, sold separately and needing its own renovation work. But the apartment itself needs nothing at all. You land, you plug in, you live. Solid property, actually move into on day one, no major renovations standing in your way, in a lakeview setting in a historic center that most tourists never even find on a map. And the best part is that heating and connectivity setup, because a lot of these hilltown homes make you retrofit everything from scratch. This one's already sorted, systems certified and compliant, nothing left for you to chase down or argue about. If remote work or long stays are part of your plan, this is the entry that quietly solves the biggest headache on this entire list before you even ask about it. Now don't blink, because we've arrived at the final entry on today's list, and this is the one I deliberately saved for the strongest closing position. Number 7, 85,000 euros, and we're back on Lake Iseo one more time, now sitting right in the historic center of Sale Maracino, with the lake and every basic service within easy walking distance. According to the listing, this portion of a house is free on 2 sides, meaning plenty of natural light from multiple directions, renovated back in 2012, and comes with a kitchen, 2 bedrooms, a bathroom, a tavern room, a covered porch, and an exclusive private courtyard that doubles as parking, which, in a historic Italian lake town where parking is basically gold, is worth more than most people realize at first glance. 70 square meters spread across 2 floors, described as good condition, with a lake view that most vacationers pay premium hotel rates just to glimpse for a single week of their year. This is about as turnkey as this entire list gets. Walk to the water, walk to the shops, park in your own private courtyard, And there's no wondering about hidden renovation costs sitting behind the walls, because the work's already been done and documented. It's not a museum, it's real life. And honestly, that's the point of this whole roundup. Every one of these 7 is a solid property you could actually move into, not some fixer-upper fantasy dressed up for a thumbnail and a dream. Morning coffee on that porch, a short walk to the water, groceries and a bakery within reach without ever needing a car. This is the closing entry precisely because it delivers everything the earlier options only offered pieces of. So here's how the whole list shakes out when you step back and look at it together. Best for pure land and privacy. That agricultural retreat above Velo with its own private olive grove, and that view over Lake Iseo. Best for Turnkey Lake, living with 0 work required. It's genuinely a coin flip between that finished apartment in Castel di Torre and the walkable courtyard home in Salle Maracino, both ready the day you get the keys, and best for straight-up value on the water. That mobile home on Lake Orta pulling in beach access, kayaks, and sunset views for under 40,000 euros total. 7 properties, 3 lakes, and a price ladder running from 30,000 euros all the way up to 85,000. And not one of them needed a fantasy renovation budget to actually live in. That's the whole point of doing this the way we did it. Solid properties described honestly. No major renovations standing between you and the keys, and views that most people only get to rent for a week at a time. If you want more roundups exactly like this one, subscribe, because the next region I'm covering is even cheaper than this one, and the finds get even stranger the further we go. Drop a comment and tell me which of these 7 you'd actually buy. The Olive Grove Hideaway above Velo, the lakefront campsite escape on Lake Orta, the full family home in Prador, or the fully renovated village apartment on Lake Turano. Because I genuinely can't decide myself, and I want to know if you agree with me or if you'd pick something completely different from this list. See you in the next one, because trust me, this region wasn't even the cheapest one I found.